Hi, and welcome back to Jeannie's Kitchen here for the Real Foods Culinary Boot Camp, and I'm here to show you another example of how we can take our soaked grains and turn them into a really nice summer dish. And today we're going to be focusing on quinoa, and last night we soaked this quinoa and it's actually already started sprouting, which gives me more evidence that this food is already starting to increase its enzyme content. So I'm going to take this, rinse it out, show you real quickly just what it looks like, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like after we've cooked it. So quinoa is a fantastic super grain. It was used by the Aztecs and the Incas, and they cultivated it in such a way that they were able to increase the protein content. So if you take a look at this, you can see that there's little tiny sprouts. There's already like little tails on that, which indicates that it's already sprouted. I cooked it up so that you can see that those little sprouts here are, evident. Now, obviously, some of those enzymes get cooked out when you're cooking, but quinoa would make a great sprout, and you could certainly continue to sprout this a little longer, and I'll teach you more about sprouting in another edition. But for today, I've already cooked the quinoa after it's been soaked. You again typically would use 2 cups of water to 1 cup of grain, but in this case you can really cut it back to just 1 cup of water for 1 cup of grain, just simply because it's already expanded so much. So you'll find that you'll need a lot less water, and the cooking time will be even a little bit less. It may take you, literally 6 minutes, 7 minutes maybe, as opposed to 10 or 12. So it's a very quick cooking grain and wonderful for any of you that are trying to move towards a gluten-free diet. Now what I did here is I have a couple of additions, and I'm always looking at what we can do to add more color. So I have added what would amount to about maybe 1.5 cups of chopped peppers, some Persian cucumbers, some red onions, and some green onions. We're going to just pop that right in here. And this is where you can get creative. You certainly can use, whatever vegetables that you happen to have on hand. Tomatoes would be terrific, and they're typically used in a taboulli. I've got some chopped parsley, which you could chop by hand, or if it was easier for you, you could certainly just do this in your food processor. And then something that traditionally makes a taboulli taste great is I took some fresh mint, and I'm going to chop that up real fine, and we're going to put that mint in. And now some sort of classic additions, would be some nuts or seeds. I'm using some currants just because I really love the color of currants, and a little bit of the sweetness added to this taboulli is kind of fun. So I don't need to use a full 1/4 cup, particularly those of you who are maybe more weight conscious, but a little bit in here can certainly add a colorful and sweet little texture. And then I happen to have some pumpkin seeds on, which I have soaked and toasted, which I'll teach you in another edition, but I'm going to put those in just simply because it's adding some more protein and some more healthy fats. This could just as well be toasted walnuts. And then finally I've got my vinaigrette, Jeannie's vinaigrette, which I'm going to just shake up and use what would amount to 2 tablespoons here, maybe 3, depending on how well you like your taboulli dressed. But this is plenty for people, and this would be enough for a woman. If you wanted to have like a cup of this, you'd be getting 1/2 cup of grain and 1 cup of vegetable. Would be about 100, maybe 125 calories, depending on how many additions you have. And really, this could be the basis for a fabulous side salad. If you were having it with, like, let's say, a nice piece of meat, fish, or poultry. You could also make this a quick lunch if you had some leftover protein, such as tempeh or tofu, or adding some chicken or some salmon right into this. Make a really great lunch, something that would probably hold you quite well. Quinoa is also classically one of those grains that has a very calming effect. For some of you that maybe typically find yourself craving carbohydrates, quinoa is one that raises the serotonin levels very nicely, so you may not find that. So here is our beautiful quinoa salad, and I honestly make this different throughout the season. So depending on whatever are the vegetables that are most noteworthy for the season, this is a basic in my diet. Love the color and love the beautiful textures that come together. So I hope I can inspire you to start adding a little bit more quinoa into your diet, but make sure you soak the grains beforehand. I'll be looking forward to seeing you in another edition.